right, welcome back everybody to The Takeover. This is episode 16, and today we're going to talk about how to build an internal marketing team. We live in an age today where we can, because of the internet, we can see kind of, we have this window into the activity of our competitors better than we've ever been able to see before. So we can see sort of a little bit about what they're doing to go to market. And it certainly is interesting because we, in the industrial supply world, there are these Goliaths, these big gorillas in the room, right, that are absolutely killing it. And they have great online websites. And then just, sort of distributors that are maybe stuck in the past and really haven't upgraded the way that they go to market in many, many years. And then just something and then there's people that are everywhere in between those two. And I think it's very interesting time. And I think one of the things that is a challenge for a lot of us industrial entrepreneurs out there is just trying to think about what it takes to really grow your industrial supply business. And of course, sales and marketing are really, the two levers that you're trying to pull to help you grow, top line revenue and ultimately grow that bottom line. And, from my standpoint, I've worked on both the supplier side. I've worked in an internal marketing team, being a creative director and a marketing designer, and and I've had experience working with I would say a pretty good size marketing team at the manufacturing level. Worked a lot with distributors, partnering with other distributors in their marketing efforts over the years. And then about 5 years ago, I came over here and I took over what was then Safety Marketing Services, and we've changed a lot of things. We've grown, and I've learned about the agency side of marketing. And so I hope this will be a fascinating conversation for you guys because now, 5 years under my belt here as an CEO of an agency, a marketing agency, I now see kind of the light when it comes to how to run a marketing team. And I never realized all of the inefficiencies and all of the, I would say wasted resources that go into sometimes internal marketing teams. But I've also seen internal marketing teams perform at a very high level. I've also seen, interesting, combination of the two. Teams that maybe couldn't afford, a full-size marketing team, and they worked with other resources, agencies and freelancers, to really accomplish the work that they needed to accomplish to grow market share. And so today I'm hoping that what we're going to do is we're going to talk about sort of the best practices for industrial distributors. So, if you're a supplier out there, hope you don't mind, but I'm going to focus more on the distributor side and really what picture perfect, world-class marketing looks like from a distributor standpoint. And so I'm going to kind of paint this picture of what would the ideal look like? And, of course, we're going to fall short of that. And so, the object of this is not to, not to make you feel bad and go hire a bunch of new bodies. But the idea is to show you what's possible, to show you maybe what you could be doing and maybe some areas of opportunity for you to make improvements to your team, or ways that you can better utilize outside resources. So that being said, we're going to jump right in. I'm working on this blog post right now. It'll be up live later this week on the Takeover blog, which you can find at spinstack.com/blog. So this article, I'm going to go through a lot of detail, and I'm going to provide you with some really cool things. The best thing that's in this article that I want you guys to go to the website for is this accountability chart that I created. So I'm going to plug that, I think, in the beginning of this podcast, in the middle, and then at the end, because I think it's going to be very helpful for you to see visually in a PDF format what a good marketing team looks like, and the roles, the titles, and the the accountability structure, the organization of that team. So before we get there, let's talk about kind of the big picture in terms of how you build this team. The big question I often get asked is, do we build our marketing team in-house? In other words, do I go and I hire folks to execute the marketing plan, to come up with a strategy, execute it, or do I outsource? And I think that's really the question that we have to wrestle with. And of course, being an agency owner, you might think, well, obviously you need to outsource, but that's not necessarily the right answer. It really depends on a couple of things. And really the two things are this: how much control do you want? And how much say do you want in the sort of the fine details of the marketing execution? And can you afford to do the work in-house? Not everybody can afford to hire a marketing team. So I'll go through some examples. But if you're the type of industrial entrepreneur who likes to put the personal touch on every aspect of your business, if you're like me, in other words, I'm making marketing right now, for our agency. I like to have a hand in it. It's my background, obviously. So this is something I enjoy doing. I do sales and marketing for my agency. And I have some help doing that. It may surprise you to know that I actually get some help outside as well. I bring in outside resources to help me execute some of my marketing. In other words, even the marketing agency doesn't do everything in-house. So, and I'll touch on more about that in a minute. But basically, if you're very persnickety, if you're very you're very picky about the way that you like the work created, then maybe working with an outside creative agency, it may not be the right choice for you. So I know one distributor in particular, fantastically successful online distributor, sells safety equipment, and he actually has a background in marketing. So he was a former creative director, former marketing director, and started this industrial distribution business around a website. Okay, so he is very particular. And as you can imagine, because he had so much experience and he knew so much about the marketing side of the business, he had a very difficult time delegating the top marketing responsibilities to somebody who didn't do it exactly like him. And we can't really fault him because he's doing fantastic and he really knows what he's talking about. But it's one area where he's going to be invested a lot more. So maybe he doesn't have as much time to do sales or to work on, supplier relationships. So you're going to have to give up something if you want to be more involved in your marketing. Most importantly, though, I would say that the biggest hindrance to hiring a marketing team internally is just the cost. Okay, so a lot of people don't really think, what it really takes to do marketing well, the way that some of these really big successful distributors are doing it. It's extremely expensive. So basically, fully loaded salaries. Even if you're just starting out, let's say you just needed 2 or 3 employees to execute your digital marketing and your traditional marketing and product content management. Those 3 areas alone will require 2 to 3 people, and that could cost you over $250,000 annually in salaries alone. Not to mention, you're going to need a lot of other things. So you're going to need software, hosting, print, advertising, trade show, travel costs. All of those things are going to be added to your marketing budget. And really, your marketing should be, in terms of a benchmark number, should be somewhere between 5 and 10% of your gross margin, depending on how aggressively you're looking to grow. And that's the gross margin. So obviously, like we're talking about minus the cost of goods, so minus the amount of money that you're paying your suppliers. So if your gross margin, as an example, is somewhere around 5 million, your total marketing budget, including staff and all of those other expenses, should be somewhere between 250,000 and 500,000. Now, if that's you, okay, and that's a lot of small to medium-sized distributors, you're not going to have the budget for hiring, say, more than 1 or 2 people. And so you're going to have to figure out how to do a lot of stuff creatively without having a ton of fixed costs. So if you're working with an agency, for example, for website development, catalogs, the occasional data or design projects, it can be vastly more affordable for you, especially if you're smaller, than carrying several full-time salaries. The problem, obviously, with outsourcing everything to an agency is the amount of time it takes you, the owner usually, to communicate, provide feedback, and monitor results. You really should be spending your time doing more important things, in my humble opinion. You should be working on sales. You should be working on your supplier relationships. You should be calling on customers and coaching your staff and your leadership. So a lot of times I've seen, especially when I've worked with other distributor owners, they spend a ton of time on this stuff. And while it's great to see the enthusiasm and the excitement, I'm concerned that, maybe they're getting too much in the weeds. And it's really important for them to have somebody on their staff who can handle a lot of the day-to-day work. I certainly encourage industrial entrepreneurs and owners to be involved in all of the strategy and the creative work, but maybe you don't need to review every page of your catalog. Maybe you don't need to review every page on your website. Maybe somebody else you can trust to do that for you. Okay, so you could go internal if you had the budget and you had sort of that culture where you need to have more control, or you could outsource. You could work with an agency. You could work with freelancers. But in my experience, the best practice is actually to use a hybrid approach. This will help you maximize your abilities while maintaining control and guarding your time as an owner of the business. So for an example, okay, we've worked with lots of distributors and suppliers, but I would say the majority of our customers, the customers that work with SpendStack to host their website, their e-commerce platform, to do digital marketing, to do catalog development, these customers are primarily small to mid-market distributors, which means very rarely will they have more than a 7-figure budget. And sometimes they won't even have a 7-figure marketing budget. So we're talking about companies that really can only afford to have one, if that many, full-time marketing peoples. And sometimes when you're just starting out and you're very small, you can't afford to have any marketing people on your team, and that's understandable. So in our experience, the highest performing, the fastest growing distributors, the ones that have used our services and that have really done well and grown their market share, the thing that they all have in common is this: they have at least one marketing manager or director who outsources the vast majority of their marketing projects. So they don't need a whole team, but they need somebody who owns marketing. And this, I think, is a big shift in the industrial distribution space over the last, let's say, 5 to 10 years. In today's world, a website is not a nice-to-have thing. It's an absolute necessity. And running a website, running co-op campaigns, building catalogs and flyers and collateral, it really does require a full-time seat in your business. So we certainly recommend that you consider figuring out how to add that person to your organization if you don't already have them. A good marketing director or manager will basically serve as a bridge between you and your business goals and the agencies and freelancers who will execute the work. Okay, so ownership has annual growth goals, or less you should. And these goals will be communicated to your marketing director. And the marketing director's job is to create a strategy, a go-to-market strategy that will help the ownership realize their goals for both top-line growth and growth of the bottom line. Okay, so then he or she will develop this marketing calendar, which will include projects and activities and events that will positively impact those goals and move the needle. Okay, so these are all really important things that, really you don't have time for. I have seen it work. And I think in the beginning, we all have to do this, right? Like when we're just starting off and we don't have a large staff, the owner really has to play the role of the marketing director. You have to be the marketing director. You have to be the number one sales rep. This is life for an entrepreneur when you're starting out. But you should think of it as a hat that you will eventually hand to somebody else. And as soon as you can do that, the better, because this role really is pivotal to the growth of your business. So, rather than trying to do everything in-house, okay? So I know a lot of marketing directors who they fall into the same trap as the owners, where they try to design everything themselves. They try to handle all of the spreadsheets themselves. They try to run all of the events themselves, and they wear themselves down, and they're very ineffective ultimately because they're not scaling, they're not utilizing resources, they're not working smart. They may be working very hard, but they're not working smart as maybe they could. So rather than trying to do everything in-house, what the best directors do that I've seen is that they work with experts who understand web development, who understand web hosting and maintenance, who understand how to create a printed catalog, which is a massive project, and understand design and content management. And these are the time-consuming activities that really should be outsourced if you can outsource them. And it takes nothing less than a small army to tackle everything on this calendar. I know because I happen to run that army, and I understand what it takes to do the amount of activities and projects for a growing distributor. So everything should be outsourced except for this. And this is the most important thing. The thought leadership and brand management, which the marketing director should carefully steward on behalf of the ownership. So in other words, the marketing director should have a very close relationship with the ownership of the company. They should understand the vision of the business. They should understand where we're trying to go to in 3, 5, 10 years. They should understand the branding and the value proposition. And all of that should be so closely ingrained that they can then communicate that with the agencies, the freelancers, the 1099 employees that they're working with to do the day-to-day work. And that really is the best practice. So I want to encourage you guys at this point to head on over to the website and look for this new article. It's going to be episode 16 on the blog at blog.spinstack.com. You're going to find it on the Takeover blog. Look up this article, scroll down, and then find the accountability chart. We're going to look at what a marketing team looks like. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back from the break, we're going to look at this marketing team accountability chart, and we're going to go through each of these roles, and we're going to talk about the salaries. We're going to talk about their responsibilities. Should be really, really fun. So I'll catch you right after a quick message from our sponsor.
You may have heard print is dead. We are here to tell you it's not. Recent reports found that 20% of e-commerce customers bought after receiving a catalog, and they're spending more. It turns out catalogs are an important first step in your customers' buying decisions. We can help. With over 15 years of experience in the industry, SpinStack is equipped to get your catalogs to print. Beautifully designed, with expert workflow and execution. Backed by a product database of over 20,000 SKUs. Make your catalog stand out with custom design and solutions built for your business. Visit us today at spinstack.com to learn more.
What's your e-commerce solution? Slow speeds, broken links, do-it-yourself design. It all gets complicated fast. You need a solution that works for you and the industry you serve. SpinStack is an authority in e-commerce for industrial distributors. We do the hard work for you with full implementation services, built-in SEO, and custom design that communicates your unique value proposition. Add your products fast with a fully integrated product database containing over 500,000 SKUs. Detailed product descriptions ensure your customers' questions get answered, even in your sleep. B2C shoppers can check out quickly with our open source development add-on, while B2B accounts get the customization they need to scale on their terms. Only SpinStack offers industrial distributors a true omni-channel solution designed to help you scale your presence online, stay up to date with changing algorithms, and help your customers purchase quickly and easily. It's all part of our vision to help you create a legacy that stands the test of time. Learn more about SpinStack e-commerce at spinstack.com or call 866-270-0810.
All right, guys, welcome back. So we talked about sort of the best practices for outsourcing and building an internal marketing team, and kind of weighed the pros and cons between the two. And ultimately, I recommended sort of this hybrid approach where you have a marketing director or manager who then utilizes outside resources to execute all of the work. And of course, as you grow, you can start adding more people to your team. However, most of you guys are going to need some sort of visual representation of what this looks like. And so that's why we created this accountability chart. It's just a PDF that you can download for free. You don't need to type in any information or anything. Just come to the blog article and click on that, and you'll be able to pull up the PDF and print it out and use it with your leadership team, and you can talk about what roles are going to be important for you in the next few months. But we're going to go over that. The first thing I want to do is I want to talk about 3 core marketing functions of your industrial distribution marketing team. So before you build your team or hire an agency, you need to think about building this chart, and it's really organized. This team is really organized by 3 core functions. Okay, the first core function, and I would say the most important today, is the digital branch or the website. Okay, and I say digital branch intentionally because I want you guys to start thinking about your website like its own entity, like it's a branch of the business, like it's its own it has its own P&L and its own business and everything. So, think about the digital branch as being independent, but then supporting and working with your traditional business. Okay. If you were to start a new branch location, right? If you were just to go, a few counties over or in a neighboring state, you would have a branch manager, you would have supporting staff, you would have sales and marketing and inventory, and your website really should integrate with your traditional business and serve non-traditional buyers who prefer a hands-off digital experience. We have a hole in our bucket in our traditional distribution model, and that hole in the bucket it equates to all of the users who really don't want a consultative sales process. in terms of buying their safety equipment or tools or MRO products. What they want is to be able to go to a website, find the products they need, order them, and get out of there and really not talk to anybody. And they want the whole thing to be done via email and through the web application. And that is your digital branch. And there's a lot of moving parts, and there's a lot of work that has to happen. So your website should be first and foremost on your mind in terms of what resources you need to associate to it. The second core function is merchandising and print. And I put the two together because I think that they go nicely. I've organized my agency in this way. So basically the team that handles our product content, so our product content management system, our PIM, our database, is the same people that handle our print projects. So our catalogs, our flyers, our brochures, our line cards. Product content, really, in my opinion, today is the difference between elite online distributors and the vast majority who have yet to really conquer this mountain. You need to have this team dedicated to working with manufacturers, to gather the product content, to normalize the product content for your specific platform or application, updating a product database, so making sure that you're removing discontinued products, adding rich content, high quality descriptions, product images, videos, and rich data that will help the buyer make an educated decision without having to call or speak to a sales rep. That's really the goal of your online channel. So the product content should be used online, but it should also be used in print. Print is not dead. We ran a long campaign about this. You can go look that up at the website. And basically all of the research points to this idea that print as a channel in our distribution business is still a very effective form, especially when it is combined with e-commerce. So basically, print is a way for buyers to shop. And then a lot of times they'll go and they'll actually make the purchase on the website. So shopping and brand awareness and used as a sales tool, print catalogs are still extremely effective. And having your brand and having your product selection and having your pricing in a book that you can hand to your customer is really priceless. It really sets you apart from all of the smaller competitors in your area. The third core function of your marketing team is, I believe, event marketing. So trade shows, the different, maybe you host a barbecue, a picnic, and you bring in customers, and you do something like that. I think that's a fantastic idea. We need more of that. I think folks, as we become more digital, I think we also are craving more, more meaningful interaction, where it's not all about the sales. It's more like appreciation. So doing a customer appreciation event, a golf tournament, and then thinking about showing up where your customers are, I think is very important. So have you defined your target markets? The best independent distributors that I've worked with have really well-defined buyer personas, so they know which type of customers are going after. They're going after oil and gas. Are they going after, utilities? Are they going after manufacturing companies? And then what they do is they show up at the places where their customers show up. So what trade shows, what unions, what affiliates can you go to and show up and set up a booth and be there to generate leads. And this has gotten a little more nuanced over the last few years than it ever has been. Unfortunately, up to 70% of leads generated at these events don't get followed up with. And that's why we've worked with distributors, and we really recommend this tradigital union of the in-person event marketing. That's as old school as it gets, guys. Having a booth and just showing up and talking to your customers, but combining that with the new school technology where you can follow up with leads automatically using email marketing automation, where we can send lists, we can send leads from our show an email immediately as soon as we get the lead, and then following up with them, segmenting them based on their engagement, putting them into different buckets, sending some of the hottest leads over to the sales team immediately into a CRM, and then nurturing the rest of the leads. This is really important today, and I think if you're not combining your trade shows with some sort of email marketing automation, some sort of smart follow-up system, I think it's a total waste. So I wouldn't even put this on the list if it weren't for the technology that really has made a huge difference in follow-up strategy in the last few years. So event marketing is a key part of a distributor's arsenal when it comes to growing market share. So those three things: digital branch, merchandising and print, event marketing. These are three areas. They take up a lot of time, and there's a lot of resources that go into those three areas. And then really you need to decide which of those areas you're going to attack. Which of those areas are you going to be best at? You're going to have the best results, the best opportunities to engage with your customers. What do your customers want? Do they want a really nice, seamless website user experience? Then you may need to invest a lot more of your budget into that digital branch. Are they asking for catalogs? Are they asking for, are there opportunities for you to show up at events? Then you may need to think about allocating funds, across the board into those different areas based on what's most important to your customer. All right, so I hope that by now you've been able to jump to the website and download that accountability chart, because we're going to walk through it together here as we turn the corner on this episode. This accountability chart, I just want to say, I think there are let's see here, 9, 10, 11, there's like 12 people. There's 12 roles on this chart. So I want to make it clear before I even get into this, that these are examples of roles that need to be built to build this incredible marketing team. This is not a to-do list for your human resources department. Very few distributors are large enough or fortunate enough to afford to have this large of a team. This is, and I've walked into marketing teams from some of the biggest distributors in the nation, and this is sort of what they look like. They may have more people in different core areas, but this is sort of the best practice. And what I've done here is try to give you a picture of the different roles that really should be used in your business. For most small to medium-sized distributors, you're likely only going to hire 1 to 3 full-time employees to serve multiple roles on this chart, okay? So you're going to have people wearing multiple hats and juggling multiple projects, and that's fine. That's fine when you're starting out. As you get bigger and bigger and bigger, you need to be able to concentrate specifically on different areas of the marketing team, and that's why you'll need to grow your team. But for starting out, you do not need very many people to do the majority of the roles on this chart. So the first, and obviously the one at the very top here, is your marketing director. Now, the marketing director is really responsible for defining and communicating the go-to-market strategy with measurable goals aligned with the overall company goals. Remember, I talked about they need to be really in sync with the ownership, with the leadership, so that he or she can manage an overall budget and handle communication between the ownership and the rest of the marketing team, or the outsourced partnerships like the agencies or the freelancers that they're working with. For most small to mid-market distributors, honestly, this role is actually filled by the CEO or the owner. So you may be surprised because you say, well, Matt, you said you should hire this person. But this person, this is top level, guys. This is This is strategic. This is owning the budget. This is leadership. Okay, so this is not a cheap hire. Okay, so this salary range is probably going to be somewhere in the $85,000 to $125,000 annually. Plus benefits. This person reports directly to ownership, and they should be a part of your your leadership team. So this is not a role that you hire straight out of the gates if you're just getting started building your marketing team. This is somebody who you hire to take your marketing to the next level. Like I said, for most small distributors, this is probably going to be the CEO. But it's important for you, if you are that person, if you are that CEO, to think that you are wearing multiple hats, that sometimes you need to sit down and spend a day as the marketing director, and you're going to have a marketing director day, and you're going to plan and strategize and work on a budget, and that's going to be your role. All right, the next person on the list reporting to the marketing director is the manager. I'm kind of working left to right on the chart. The merchandising manager is responsible for sourcing, normalizing, and updating product content from your manufacturer partners. Ideally, he or she would utilize some sort of PIM or product information management software to maintain a master catalog, as well as multiple customer catalogs. Most B2B distribution companies will need to create customized catalogs for their big accounts with unique pricing and product selection. And you could do all of this with spreadsheets, right? But a product information management system makes it a lot easier, and it helps you scale. So at some point, when you are tired of spreadsheet hell, you're going to eventually look for some sort of PIM solution. This person would also handle, like I said, updating the pricing, which is no small task. The more products you have, the more of a beast it's going to be to update your pricing. And I like to recommend to do that twice a year. So this product content would include all sorts of media, right? So this person's responsible for managing, curating all of the videos, the images, the sell sheets, the safety data sheets. This role can be outsourced when you're small. There are companies that offer services for managing your content. SpinStack happens to be one of those services. We're not the only one either. So this is an area that is a major pain point for most small and medium distributors. And this role, eventually you might think about hiring somebody when you get up over, let's say, 500,000 in web sales a year. You're going to maybe think about hiring somebody like this, because you're going to be moving product in and out of your website. You're going to be updating pricing. It's going to be a massive chore to manage the content. And that's really what this person does. Salary range, based on experience, starting low range, $50,000 a year, probably up to $80,000 a year for a really experienced content manager. This person will report directly to the marketing director, and they would have two people that report to them, and that is the digital producer or designer and a data specialist. Now, there might be three people. There may be three different roles here, depending on the kind of people that you can find. I have found a lot of designers who can do print catalogs, print catalog design, flyer design, brochures, that sort of stuff. Can also do product photography and video. A lot of the creative designers out there today can do a little bit of both. So that's why I put them into one role. But this person would be this person would be your digital producer or designer. Like I said, they would report to the merchandising manager. They would create images, video, media, not just create it, but they have to take what the manufacturers give you, optimize it for your website or for print. So image optimization is a big part of this. Sometimes they will be creating images, so you might have to have a small little studio set up in your office for taking pictures and doing videos and that sort of thing. This this is one of the most easiest roles to outsource. These people are readily available as freelancers. And of course, we have them here in our agency. The salary range somewhere between 45 and 65. You may be able to get somebody straight out of school who can fill this role. But keep in mind, you're going to need somebody who understands desktop publishing. So using Adobe InDesign, Creative Cloud. That software is sort of complicated, and at least when I learned it back in the early 2000s, we had to go to school. We went to college for that. Today, of course, you can just learn on YouTube. So that role reports directly to the merchandising manager. The other person that reports to the merchandising manager is your data specialist. A data specialist is really the unsung hero of the distribution of business. The data specialist would be doing the heavy lifting inside Excel or the PIM to normalize the product content, organize it, syndicate it for printed catalogs or e-commerce websites. They are in data world all the time. This person has to love monotonous, boring, predictable work. This is not a creative person, by the way. Your team needs to be built of nerds and ninjas, and this is a nerd, okay? Your digital producer, your designer, they're a ninja. They like the creative work. The data specialist has to love grinding spreadsheets. These folks are rare, but they're out there, and I think they would be very valuable. And if you're just starting out, the merchandising manager probably can do both of these roles. But like I said, as you grow, you're going to want to have the ability to do design and images, and as well as handling big chunks of data. Loading 10,000 lines of drill bits is not for the faint of heart. It is a hell of a task. And that's why you might have somebody dedicated to that role. All right, guys. The next, kind of in the very center of the accountability chart, and by the way, I put this in the center of the accountability chart on purpose because I'm trying to illustrate the importance of it, the centrality of this role. And this is your digital branch manager. Also, you may call them your digital marketing director. The digital marketing director or the digital branch manager is responsible for all online sales and communication. Okay? I'll say that again. They're responsible for all online sales and communication. They have to determine, first of all, the technology, the e-commerce platform, the hosting and maintenance services. They'll work very closely with the marketing director to create KPIs or key performance indicators and SMART goals for the website or the digital branch. Now, this would include, possibly a CRM implementation, email marketing, search engine marketing, advertising, social media strategies, and building an analytics dashboard to report on the results. This is probably the first person that I would hire if you're a small distributor looking to grow your marketing team. This role is far too complicated and involved for someone to do it part-time. You cannot do this part-time. If you're the owner, don't even think about doing this. This is an ocean of things to swim in. Just under search engine marketing, you have PPC, you have SEO, you have conversion optimization, growth-driven design. There's so much that goes into this role, and it's really an important role, I think, for the future of your distribution business. Salary range starting at $70,000. This person has to be educated. This person has to have some experience, all the way up to over $100,000 in annual salary. This person reports to your marketing director or to your CEO if you don't have a marketing director. All right, working with this digital marketing director is a marketing manager, a web designer, a web developer, and a content specialist. So your marketing manager is really critical to organizing projects, because most of the time a digital strategist or your digital branch manager, they're going to be very strategic focused. They're going to be big picture people, but you're going to need a nerd okay, ninjas and nerds. You're going to need somebody who is extremely organized with a pocket protector, who's going to help you maximize efficiencies and organize the projects that you have. So your marketing manager is basically a project manager who will understand marketing concepts, strategies, and digital marketing software. This person will schedule emails, manage your social media, and work on website projects and optimizations. They'll be the primary point of contact for your freelancers or your agency partners. This is one role that you'll want to keep in-house if you can afford it, but many agencies can also provide this for you. For example, if you hire SpinStack to do your e-commerce hosting and maintenance and your website design and development, you will get a dedicated account manager. And really what they are is a marketing manager. These are folks who understand marketing, web design, development, but who are extremely organized and can manage your project. Salary range is going to be between $45,000 and $75,000 depending on experience. And they will, again, like I said, report to the digital branch manager. And then they're going to have a team of creatives. So they're going to have a web designer. They're going to have a web developer, and I don't think I need to explain too much about what they do. Obviously, the web designer is going to be responsible for designing creative content on anything that can be viewed on your customer's phone or computer screen. So that means website pages, landing pages, blog articles, banners, social media, email, etc. Right? All of this goes through one designer so that you can create a consistent brand look and feel, which is very important to having a good, clean website. This role is very easily outsourced. Obviously, when you hire an agency, you would expect to get a web designer. Salary ranges between $45,000 and $65,000. They ultimately report to the marketing manager and accountable to them and the projects that they're assigned. The other person that you're going to have is a web developer. Very seldom. We actually call them unicorns. A unicorn is a web designer and developer. They're called a full stack developer. So in other words, they can do front-end design. So they have really good design skills, but they have also the left brain analytical mind that you need to write code. So somebody that could write code and design is very rare. Rare is a unicorn. Most of the time you're going to need a separate person to do the code as well. So the web developer would handle the technical aspects of your website, handle the hosting, handle the domain management, handle the technology, handle the code behind the website. And then the third role, reporting to the marketing manager, is going to be a content specialist. Content specialist is so important today. The internet is built on content. I've said this before. And we have to understand that content has to come from a human being to be authentic, to be helpful, to be relevant, to rank for search results. Google is getting so good at penalizing people that are trying to game the system and promoting real, helpful, authentic content, like the content I'm creating today. It's just trying to be helpful. It's trying to be authentic. It's unique. And that is what Google is looking for. So you need somebody that can write for SEO, but also understands the industry. These folks that understand your customers, that understand the industry and marketing, are pretty rare, to be honest with you. We obviously have those people on our team, and we can help with that. But like, if you found somebody who's maybe like an ex-safety director, or somebody who is maybe retired, who likes to write, who used to be in the safety industry or in industrial distribution, or working with tools, it would be so great to get them on your team, even as a part-time position, and have them create blog articles, help them write content for your category pages and product pages on your website, and that will pay huge dividends in the long term. All right, so the last core section here is event manager. Now, the event manager is the person responsible for organizing and setting up and really executing all of your trade shows and in-person events over the course of the year. The event manager, one of the most important things they can do is to manage a budget and to build a calendar of all your events. and to make sure that they're organizing all of the salespeople that need to be at the events, to schedule the rental of the booth, to make sure that the booth is designed and that you have all of the products and display equipment, like something like this. You need that stuff all built and ready to go. I need it to be organized and shipped. And so there's a lot that goes into setting up, running an event booth, generating leads, tearing down the booth, organizing, putting it all back, and then following up with those folks. So an event manager might have up to 2 people working with them. That would be your event designer and your event coordinator. Well, I forgot to mention, so this person definitely would have either a sales or marketing background and probably has some experience in the industry. Their salary range would be between $50,000 and $85,000, and again, they would report directly to your marketing director. And if this is a major focus for you guys, and you attend a lot of events, this is difficult for one person to pull off. So you might need a marketing coordinator who will really be that person that comes out, sets up the booths, handles maybe the billing and working with the agencies to design the booth equipment, or working with the designer to build the booth equipment. And putting together the nurturing and follow-up strategy that really comes at the end of the trade show. And again, with more technology integrated in this piece, the more important it is to be thoughtful and to always continually have some sort of unique strategy, like to generate foot traffic to the booth and to follow up with those leads after the show is over. And really, if you're attending a lot of events, you're going to want help with that. So that's where an event coordinator comes in, sort of an assistant to the event manager, and your event designer will be busy as well. And of course, if you don't have a lot of time, you might have one designer on your staff who does the events, who does web design, who also does print design. I've seen that work as well if you don't have enough for them to be dedicated to the event side. So that is sort of the high level overview of your marketing team accountability chart. I hope that was helpful. Here's what I would say, that if you guys want help, if you're thinking about hiring somebody internally, I want you guys to think of me as a resource because not only have I worked on an internal marketing team, I've been a cog in the wheel in several different areas, but I've built one here and I've managed one. So if you have questions about any of these roles and some of their responsibilities and even help with building job descriptions, be happy to share with you some of the things that I've learned over the years, and hopefully that helps you guys build a better marketing team and ultimately grow your business. So thanks for joining us today. Be sure to visit the website and the blog article to download the accountability chart. And until next time, take care.